Hey guys, and welcome back to another video and another match for Tribe Gaming. We were facing off against Nova, who were the world champion last year, and let's see how we can face off against them in the Pineapple Cup, which both of the teams lost their first match. So this is kind of like a important match for both teams. So both teams will do not take those things lightly. So let's see on how those wars will go. Starting off will be Nova against me, and let's see if they can make this work. They're overall using tons of super wall breakers, which is kind of interesting to see combined with the Yeti bowbat. So he's planning to get deep into the base without using any of those jump spells. The reason for that is that he's sacrificing a couple of troop space instead of using a jump spell, because you need those bat spells. Otherwise, if you do not bring like 5 bats, it's kind of useless, and there are way too less bats to actually one-shot those buildings to like get this big bat wave. So this is the reason why he's choosing a couple of super wall breakers instead of a jump spell. The next thing, as you guys have not seen my videos of those 5v5 wars, since this is a 5v5 war and we will watch all of the attacks like back to back, which means like the first attack of Nova, then Tribe, Nova, Tribe, Nova, Tribe. And I will always block at the beginning of the attacks the time, so you do not see if this might be a time fail, if this might be close on time, or whatever. I will remove the block as soon as we're getting like to the middle of the attack, something like that. So on this one, he got really deep into the base with his super wall breakers, but at some point his troops were just dying. There was not enough tanking power for his Yetis, which means they were slowly dying, and this means the Eagle is actually still standing. And even though normally the Eagle is not targeting the bats, since there are normally always other troops which are like having a bigger value for the Eagle, but as soon as everything else is dead, like in this example, the Eagle is actually shooting the bats, and this is not good. This is most of the time even worse than a wizard tower shooting them. So the Eagle one-shot off all of the bats, and this means this attack is ripped. So he's collecting a couple of more percentage. We will speed through that quickly to get into the next attack, but this was already a good start for us. Low percentage on the high level, so that was a good defense. And now let's see how our answer will look like. One more question which I got a lot actually on Discord, which I found kind of funny, and people were asking me if I got benched or something like that, just because I wasn't in the match yesterday against One Hive. And well, I don't know what you guys, maybe there are some drugs. I did not got benched, I just had no time. Like I said, I'm stepping down a little bit from all of the Clash of Clans stuff and everything, so I had already something else planned for the evening, and that's it. Like I'm sorry, but I'm not having like 24 hours every single day time for CUC, so that's not the case, just for all of you guys out there. But either way, I'm going to be the next attacker for Tribe in this war. And I'm choosing once again to go with the Queen Charge Hybrid. So the reasoning behind this attack is basically, we all know that the Queen has her own mind. Like, she always wants to go to things and places which do not always fit our own plans. So the idea behind this attack was to just drop the Queen, let her decide which way she wants to go, and then just add up the funnel on the outside and abuse this really long alley on the outside. So this was the plan on this one. And so far everything is looking good. We already used a tons of rages, which is totally fine since we already took out most of the damage on our side of the base. So that was totally fine. The next thing is, if you're clearing lava pups behind your healers, do not use always a minion if the minion might go over to the town hall and activate that. Otherwise, this attack would have been already ripped. The next thing, I'm choosing to not use a freeze spell over here, because I wanted just to use the Queen ability to have the freezes for the hybrid, because this air defense will shoot my healers anyway at some point, so my Queen will die eventually. So the freezes would be kind of wasted just to save the Queen ability. Instead, I'm using the freezes in the core for my hybrid, and the first freeze is going down on the enemy Queen and the Eagle, which is like crazy amount of value. And the second freeze is even better. The second freeze will go down on the Inferno Tower and Scattershot, which is like tons of value regarding the splash damage in the base. And then even better, I'm getting the enemy Warden as well, which is most likely the most dangerous single target defense in the entire village. So tons and tons of value when it comes down to the freezes. Way better than using the freeze for my queen. And this base is completely wrecked, complete overkill. You guys can see the time now as well. It won't be any time issues at all. Our Royal Champion still has their ability left. Our Hawk Riders are still going strong. So this is going to be the first triple for Tribe. And we're going 1-0 up against Nova. So this is going to be a really close and fun match. And well, let's see how Nova will answer. If they gonna get the triple, if they gonna make things close, or if not. So let's see. The next one is going. I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm super sorry. Not meant in any disrespectful way, but I have no clue. I just know that the defender is going to be Elliot. He needs to somehow defend this attack. And one thing which I found kind of interesting on this one is, even though Elliot has like 4 ground expos, the attacker is choosing to go with hybrid. The reason behind that is because he's choosing an angle kinda where no ground expos can actually reach him. Because if you guys take a look once again at the ranges of the bottom 2 expos, you can see they're barely touching the town hall, and this guy is only charging at the bottom of the base, which means he will not really go into the range of the expos. So if the expos are air, ground, it doesn't really matter at this point for him. For the queen charge, which is most of the time the important thing. Like, you do not choose to go with ground expos because of hybrid to defend the hybrid part. You want to defend the queen charge part because that's an important thing. Obviously, it's helpful to have like ground expos against hybrid as well. But the important thing is the enemy queen, and to deny the queen charge to make sure that there's tons and tons of damage. So the queen, meanwhile, is getting into the danger zone from now on. She's having 1 expo on her, and the enemy Warden, which is, like I said, the most dangerous single point defense in the game right now. So the Warden is on the queen. He had to use the queen ability. Now everything is retargeting on his hybrid, and even more Hawk Riders coming in from the right side, and a second from his siege barracks. I think they already came over there. So tons and tons of Hawk Riders over there. No, they're coming. And meanwhile, the queen is trying her best to survive, but the sweeper is really making it really tough for her to survive. Now the scatter shot is killing her, means that the scatter shot is staying alive. So this might be still close, but the last heal spell is getting dropped. So this is looking like another overkill with the queen charge hybrid. Meanwhile, the Royal Champion is taking out defenses left and right. Hawk Riders and Midas are taking out the skeletons and the next Inferno Tower. So this means this is going to be a crazy big overkill. Well done to Nova, another great attack, and this means it's once again tied up on triple count, but we have one more attack to go to catch up to them on the amount of attacks. So let's see if we can get the next triple to keep the pressure going and keep the momentum going for us. So let's see how that will go. The next attacker is going to be Elliot himself. He just got tripled, so he tries to get his revenge, and he will go with the hybrid as well. I don't know why, but in this war, so many hybrid attacks. It was crazy. So on this one, he's just going in with the Yeti, blimp. And one of the most important things when you're attacking with the Yeti blimp, which I found kind of interesting because most of the people are doing wrong. For example, when I take a look at my community clan and stuff like that, there's so many people that are doing things with the Yeti blimp wrong, and especially you have to know when to use a rage and when not. The amount of rages you have later on in the attack is super important, especially if you sacrifice such a big and important thing in your army like the siege machine. So this is important. Do not use the rage if it's not needed. On this one, he only wanted to take out the enemy Inferno Tower. A rage would have been a complete overkill, so nice decision making over there. Meanwhile, he already triggered 2 black mines with this first loon. The next loon is coming in just to make sure that there are no black mines left anymore, which can actually somehow deny this queen charge. And the next thing is super nice with the super wall breaker. And actually, since the healers are healing splash, or like the healing of the healers is splash, meanwhile, like while rolling through the enemy queen, through his own queen, sorry, with the super wall breakers, the healers were actually healing up the wall breaker to make sure that he could reach the wall. Otherwise, the town would have completely fried the super wall breaker. But with the splash healing of the healers, he was able actually to get through the damage of the tunnel and reach the wall. So that was kind of crazy and nicely done by Elliot. Now the hybrid part is coming in, early heals, but to make sure that everything is staying alive. And as soon as they're grouping up again, he will start off with the Warden ability. Tons of Hawk Riders died on the left side since the Warden abilities, the Warden stayed way more behind than he should have. And meanwhile, the Queen is taking out the next scatter shot. But now she's getting taken out because there's no freezes and no Queen ability left anymore to actually save her. So even though this is looking really good, a lot of miners seem to be alive, but somehow troops will die out really quickly because there are no heal spells left anymore. The Royal Champion is now trying to carry, and as you guys can see, more and more miners are dying, and there's only one Hawk Rider left. Sorry, no Hawk Riders left in a second, so this means this is going to be tough to get through the back end. Royal Champion ability, meanwhile, still to activate. He can get through the last Inferno Tower, make sure that the Inferno Tower is going down, Arch Tower is going down as well, so if the Royal Champion is staying alive, he will have a chance to actually make this, to get the 3-star in the end. Miners and everything are taking out the right side. Meanwhile, the two miners, or like the 2 or 3 miners, I don't know the exact amount, but the miners on the gold mine are completely key right now. The archer at the top side was MVP as well, taking out the last building, and with the last second he's taking out the last building. So nicely done by Elliot, and this is going to be another triple for us. So far we are 2 out of 2, Nova is 1 out of 2, so this is still being super close. So let's see how the next attack of Nova is looking like, and who he how this is going on. The next one is going to be Sorete from Nova, and he's going to attack our Lexnos. And Lexnos still with the lava walls, going strong, but I think the defenses are maxed. So let's see if the walls somehow could save this attack or the defense for Lex, or if the attack is going to be too strong. So let's see. And he's starting off with a nice Queen Walk, trying to get some Coco Loons in there. Starting off with a Test Wall Breaker. The Expo is locking on his Queen, using the Rage to make sure that he's getting through the lava walls. That's kind of important. And now the Black Mine is actually coming in. Nice placement of the Black Mine to make sure that his that it's not getting easily triggered by any of the Coco Loons. And now the Queen is getting deeper inside. She can actually reach the Eagle, and right now with the placement of the Queen is a bit unlucky because there's only one Expo on her, which means it's not like the amount of damage on her which would be needed to force a rage spell, so we can easily take down the enemy clan castle without having to spend anything except the normal poison. So far it's looking really good. He can actually reach the Eagle. I think now the plan is to have his Queen like walk always backwards, like go backwards to the Expo and now go to the Town Hall to take that out as well. That's kind of the goal right now, but instead the Queen is beating through the wall and he's already starting off with his hybrid from the bottom. But meanwhile, he's still saving that Yeti blimp, or like the blimp of all, whatever is in there, to make sure that if the Queen is somehow dying, that something can get the Town Hall. Otherwise, this would have been way too risky. So, Queen is on the Town Hall. Queen can take out the Town Hall, which means he has the free space for his blimp to place anywhere where he wants that to place. Meanwhile, still Scatter Shot and Expo on the Queen. Queen is getting lower and lower. Meanwhile, the hybrid is going in strong from the back end, freezing the Scatter Shot and the Expo to make sure that his Queen is staying alive. And now, from the top side, he's sending in the blimp. You can see it at the top, and freezing the Inferno Tower one more time to make sure once again for his Queen to stay alive. The Queen being the MVP of this attack for sure. Meanwhile, the hybrid is taking care of the rest of the base, and this is going to be another freaking triple. Nicely done by Sorete, and this war is super close. And well, this is gonna be a close one. This should be an easy triple for him, still with a Royal Champion ability left. And well, there shouldn't be anything which can stop this attack at this point. Royal Champion ability still unused, tons of mines on the right side, Queen on the top side, and this is going to be the answer of Nova. But well, there are tons of attacks still left to go, so both teams have the chance to win at this point. So let's see how we can do it. The next one is going to be Eve check, and he's going to do a drag bat attack, which is not his most common attack strategy, but let's see how he can do, what he can do with this one. He's starting off with the bats on the sweeper to take care of that, and then the goal of those bats are basically to get rid of those archer towers at the top side. But somehow all of the bats died way too quickly without having too much damage on them. At least that's what was my gut feeling. So I felt like that, I don't know, there wasn't too much damage on them, but still the bats didn't got what he wanted them to get, so instead he has to use the Royal Champion to make like a nice cut for his dragons later on, because the dragons are supposed to come in from the 10 o'clock side to go like around the bottom side. So that was kind of the goal. I think all of us knew that he wouldn't get the air defenses because those were not like the key, but what he wanted them to get, like the bats, was the top side of the base, like the archer towers, so he could just place one slammer on the town hall and take that out easily. Meanwhile, his heroes are going around the bottom side. Now a nice freeze for the core with the enemy single front tower and the enemy royal champ. Nicely done over there. Now the slammer is coming in, and this means it's a safe 2-star, but is there still a chance to actually get the 3-star? His heroes are at the bottom. There's another giant tanking for the king and for the queen. Meanwhile, he has like his queen ability still alive. A couple of more loons still left. Slammer is not getting the last shutdown on the town hall, which I think was the main problem in the end. Like, if this slammer would have survived and the loons in this slammer would have survived, I think they still would have had a chance for the 3-star, but instead now the queen has to use her ability really soon because the eagle is targeting the king and they're staying right on top of each other. Meanwhile, the dragons at the top side are still trying to do their best to get more percentage, and this, even though the bats seem to not have too much value in the beginning, this is still going to be a really close attack with like 95-94% on the finish. So this was a great recovery. Well done by EVCheck. Nice quick thinking with the Royal Champion to get like the cut at the top side. And this is going to finish on like a 95%, which isn't too bad considering that the bats got only like 4 expos and those were even ground. So yeah, kind of interesting. That's unfortunate, but either way, 95% is not too bad, especially when we take a look back at the percentage of Nova in the beginning. So let's see how their answer will look like. And they're going in with hybrid once again. Like I said, hybrid in this war is crazy. Like, so many people are using hybrid. So let's see. Sam is trying to solve with a really interesting opener because he's using his Royal Champion to funnel and then after that his Queen, which normally isn't like the best thing to do, because the reason behind that, you guys will see it as soon as he's placing the healers. The eagle's already really close to activate, which means like only a couple of more spells and the eagle will activate and will start shooting, because the eagle's always looking on the percent, like on the troop amount which is already getting placed, and heroes are kind of high on that list, which means like one hero is like the equal of 25 troop space. So placing the Royal Champion early is a little bit risky. So he's using the next rage, and this means the eagle's getting activated. So the eagle's already shooting at his queen. That's what I wanted to say. And meanwhile, the queen is trying to do her best to somehow stay alive with the rages and everything. He's having to keep rage her up to make sure that he's getting, or like she's getting the town hall. And now he's getting started with the hybrid from the bottom. Kind of strange funneling, to be honest, with his hybrid. I don't know if this was the right angle, but he tried to funnel as best as possible with his siege barrage on the left side. But now the big problem for him is not only this queen is dying, which might be even the biggest problem since his healers are switching now. The biggest problem is the size of the base. Like, there's such a big gap in between the defenses, which his hybrid basically spread out, so he can't cover the entire side with his heal spells. And this means that either side is dying out. So for example, on this one, the left side completely died out without having any chance to actually survive. And now the healers trying their best to keep the troops alive, but the air defense is, completely wrecking them. And this means as soon as the healers are dead, this is going to be not a 3-star, so this is going to be a nice defense for us. So this was a nice breathing room for us, because even though Nova already has like now 2 fails, we can now calm down, especially because of the percentage of the first attack, since that one was really low. So even like this one with like a 77%, something like that, still was a good defense. So as long as we're getting triples in or high percentage 2-stars, we're totally fine. So let's see, Hex is going to come in next, and he's starting off with a Yeti Smash. And then the opener is going to be a Warden Walk, and something interesting which he's going for. He's going for the Royal Champion, and Ice Golem funnel for the beginning. Normally you're delaying your Royal Champion for the end of the attack, but on this one he's choosing to go in early with the Royal Champ, which is kind of interesting move, and let's see if the investment is worth it in the end. So he's getting rid of most of the defenses in the beginning, has to use the Royal Champion ability soon. Here it is, and now we can start off with the wizards in behind to make sure that the funnel, with taking out down all of the defenses, is actually worth it. So meanwhile, the rage on the warden to finally go for the Inferno Tower, already placing the king, and now he's trying to lure over the warden and starting off with his Yetis. Now the queen in behind, and everything is looking good for now. So let's see on how this is going as soon as he's entering the town hall, as soon as he's entering the core of the base, and how troops will go. Then you guys still can see it. He still is bringing a siege barracks to obviously make sure that his troops are actually staying inside, because there is this elixir storage on the left side which could still lure out his troops. So this has to go down, especially with the Tesla might lure his troops over there. So this elixir storage needs to go down, which the elixir storage is. So everything's looking fine so far. Now the last freeze of the ice golems in the clan castle. Yetis are following into the core of the base. The healers are following perfectly. And now he's trying to get through the back end of the base. Jumping into the core. Nice freeze over there. The last rage. And the healers, which is kind of the key on this one, are still keeping, like, this rage effect is still on them. Like, just take a look at the last two Yetis. Take a look at how long they survive. The first Yeti is down. The second Yeti, there's like the enemy Royal Champ, enemy scatter shot, enemy cannon. There's so much damage on there, but the Yeti is just not dying, and that's so crazy. Like, this combination of healers and Yetis is just so powerful, and this makes this strategy so strong. But now all of the troops are going around the top side. The Yeti's finally dying, not to damage but to a spring trap, so like a kind of harsh death over there. And now the army of wizards at the top side should finish this job. Nicely done by Hex, and this means this is going to be another triple on the board for us. So this means if Nova wants to win, they need to get the 3-star done for the next attack, and we need to get a really low percentage 2-star. As long as nothing of this is happening, this should be a win for us. So let's see of what the end of this war will look like. Pekka's going next for Nova, and well, he's coming in with a hybrid as well, and this army so far had great success in the war, which means a little bit scary for us. So he's starting off with the funnel on the left side with the Yeti blimp kind of early on, just to take out the Inferno Tower to make sure that his queen is staying somehow alive, since there's tons and tons of damage over there. And once again, you need to know the limit of your Yeti bomb. The reason behind that is, if he would have invested a rage into that, this would have been a huge, way too big investment. But instead, he's only using the Yeti bomb to get rid of the Inferno Tower, nicely done over there. Now the free swap for the enemy queen, and the queen is getting deeper and deeper into the base. Needs another rage to keep her alive. And now the clan castle is coming out a little bit early for him, which means the enemy scatter, or like our own scatter shot, is not going down, which is for us super important, because now the queen needed to use her ability. The poison was dropped way too early, and this means the lava pops are staying alive for way too long. So the queen cannot go for the scatter shot, and this means all of the expos together with like the warden and the scatter shot will keep this attack down. So we still remember this needs to triple, otherwise Nova is in huge trouble. So troops are somehow dodging so far the town hall. The town hall is getting activated, trying to attack back. Meanwhile, the king is going for the wrong wall, is dead anyway. And now the warden ability, trying to somehow get troops into the town hall. But this looks like a one-star actually, except he's cleaning up everything and the town hall is going down. But the Royal Champion is getting under attack now, since the miners are like ducking under and like getting rid of the aggro on them. So this means the Royal Champion needs to use her ability soon. And nothing is really going for the town hall, which means this is actually going to be a 1-star. And this should be already the win for us. But we still want to watch the last attack of the war. We still want to watch if Lexnos can get the last triple of the war in. So this would be a crazy result for us. Meanwhile, this means Nova will finish up on 11 stars. We are already on 11 stars with 4 attacks. So let's see. Like I said, even a little bit of percentage, and this should be a win for us, even with a 0-star. But obviously, Lex wants to go for the 3-star, so let's see how he's doing. he's choosing to come in with the not queen charge high, but he's going with the queen charge minus, like one of the strategies where queen charge hybrid came from. So let's see on how he's doing over there. So starting off with the big dragon at the top side, coming in with the queen from the left side and trying to walk towards the bottom of this side of this flank. Meanwhile, the Hawk Riders, that was the word which I was missing, and the Bear Dragon are trying to like beat through the side, make sure that the funnel is as good as possible for his queen, and later on for the miners, because the miners are supposed to go for the town hall. So next thing is freezing the enemy scatter shot, raging the wall breakers into this, and now getting deep into the base. The healers are really close, somehow in the range of the rage spell, which means the queen is not going down on this one, even though there's a scatter shot and an expo on him. So this is still looking good. One thing which is super important as well, he's not bringing any minions for the cleanup of the lava pups. Otherwise, they might go for the town hall and might activate the town hall, and this would be a huge rip because the healers would be dead and the entire attack would be over basically, because the healers would die and the queen would have nothing to keep her alive. So meanwhile, this is still looking good, using the next set of wall breakers for his queen to make sure that she's getting access to the next compartment, which she perfectly is. So this is looking really good. Now the hybrid, or like the miners on the town hall, with having the siege barracks at the top side, warden ability is getting used, but the warden is actually getting dragged back due to the tornado trap, which is not the best thing, because of that there was like a group of miners which was not in the range of the warden ability, which is never a good thing. But now the Royal Champion is coming in. I think he used the Royal Champion a little bit too early, because he needs, like, the Royal Champion needs some tanking, and because of the mines are already like ducking under, this means all of the defenses are retargeting, and the only target which is alive is the Royal Champ. So I think the Royal Champ could have been a little bit delayed, and he should have waited for the Hawk Riders to come from the siege barracks and then put them in. But this is going to be a little bit unlucky anyway, because all of the outside defenses are keep staying, and this means he can't place any cleanup troops, and this is a little bit unlucky for him. But this means this is not going to be a 3-star, but still high percentage it should be. So yeah, this is the war. This should be like around 90+%, something like that for Lex. So great attack, great job overall for the guys, nicely done by them. And this means we should win with 13-11 against Nova, former world champion. And well, this was a fun war. I hope we have a chance to come back in the tournament. Like I said, it was a bit close for both teams. So let's see how that would turn out. But yeah, 13-11, GG's to Nova. And thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys back tomorrow for another one. See you guys then. Until then, and bye-bye.